So welcome to the She Sweets, the podcast where she's only. A woman in leadership. So come on, CEO, you should join the show. The She Sweets podcast with Jody Hood.
Welcome to She Sweets Podcast with me, your host, Jody Hood. This is a place where She Sweet executives share and compare unfiltered realities that our male counterparts will never face. We laugh, we cry, we thrive, and we survive. Now, a few weeks back, we talked about the perfect gift to regift. And basically, it was a challenge for successful CEOs to give back the gift of mentoring and challenge and coaching. I'm so sorry. Mentoring and coaching. So my sister was listening in and she said, you know what? I want to give back. So guess what, folks? Here you have it. You have CEO Jackie Easterling, and she is going to share some information that normally people pay for. So run, get that pen, get that paper, get that pad, because you are going to be gifted today with outline on how to start your own business. Now, she's going to talk specifically about owning a childcare business, but the principles can be applied to any business that you are trying to open. Now, my first question for Jackie, well, first, let me say I'm happy to have you here, Miss Carrington.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to make this quick because my internet is acting up just a little bit. So the first question is, what inspired you to get into this business?
Well, I started it based on a need. I was in need of childcare and didn't have anyone to keep RJ. Didn't have anyone to keep him. So, and my husband was in daycare, working with his family business. So we just started.
Alrighty then. So some people are out there and they may be wondering, how do I get started? Do I have to have an LLC? Do I have to be Inc.? Well, how do I just get started? Do I have to have a business plan? Do I have to do a market analysis? Do I have to have a degree? So I've asked all of those questions so we can kind of get them out of the way. So Jackie, just flow with and give them that information.
Well, it kind of like all depends because there's a wide range. You have home providers, you have people that only have 2 children that they take care of. You have some that maybe do 5. You have some with large centers. You have centers with hundreds. Then you have people with multiple centers. So it definitely ranges on what you want and how you structure it. We started rather small in an apartment complex, and we grew from there. And like I say, it's how what's comfortable for you and what you're able to do. But to me, I feel that anyone could start.
Anyone could start, but I would imagine it. Yeah, but you probably have to have a little love for children.
Love for children definitely helps, because again, it's challenging and rewarding. But I did come from education based. I was a school teacher, so I already had that in mind of teaching and helping young children learn, even though I was in high school, but I still had an educational background. So that definitely, I think, helped.
Oh, I'm sure. But don't fear, people out there. If you don't, you can still be successful in this business. Now, what is the absolute first thing they should do? The first thing.
The first thing is to write a plan, to have a plan and to write it down to see exactly what it is that you want, because it's such a wide base of where you can start. You want to be able to start where you can start. So having a plan, like what is your goal? Do you want to, you like children? I want to make, I just want to do this from home. I just want to, have enough to pay my bills. Or you might say, hey, I want to be, my goal is to have 10 centers. I want to start a franchise. Whatever it is that you want to do, you want to start with what you want to do, what's your plan and what you can do.
Okay, so we're going to start with the business plan. We have our goals, we have our vision, we have an idea of whether we want to be at home or whether we want to be off site. So now comes the license because you have to have a license. So, how do you go about getting a license?
Well, you have to go by the DCFS guidelines. So there is a code, guidance code. Either you're going with the 470 child care 470s, or you're going with the 460, depending on, again, if you're doing home, center based, child based. So it does determine. So, but it gives you gives you the guideline. But having someone to help you go through those guidelines to see kind of like I think it's good to have someone there to kind of directing you at where you should start and what you need, because it spells it out. But however, some of it you may not need, some of it you do need. So it's helpful to have a mentor or someone that can really help you to follow
Hmm.
through.
Yeah. Now, where do you get that information? Is there a website?
It is a website, the
And
DCFS. You can go to, it's called the, you can go to and I could I don't know it right off. I mean, I know it. It's blocked in my phone, but it's, if you just even Google DCFS child care guidelines, and it'll lead you to it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then once you look at the qualifications and you see everything you need, you can determine if you really want to do this because it's a little bit of work. It's heavy on the front end, but it's so worth it if this is really what you want to do. Now, once you find you have that plan, you say, well, I want to start small. I want to start from my home. What should you do to your house to make it child friendly?
Well, again, you're going by those guidelines because it will tell you, and a lot of times what they'll tell you too, it's a you might enroll into like a training program. They'll have like a training that you can register for, and when that comes out, it'll kind of give you a brief guideline on how your house should be set up. Are you on the first floor? Do you want it on the first floor? Do you want it on the some people like it in their basement, but it might require you to have exit out, straight out from the basement. But then those guidelines again will tell you, if you're looking for this, then you need this. If you're looking for this, you'll need fire protection. Or if you're having this amount of children, then you might need something else. So the guidelines will kind of direct you at what you need to
Yeah.
do
So
and how
I'm
you need to set up your house.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask this question, and it may not be a right or wrong answer, but I just want your opinion because in your house, the advantage would be that you're already paying your rent or mortgage, or if your house is paid for, you don't have that overhead, and you wouldn't have to pay lights and gas. So if you go to if you find a spot to rent or to purchase, you're going to have a mortgage or rent, and you're also going to have other bills like the light and gas and so forth. So would you say it's better to start in your home first or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but again, it depends on your particular budget and what your plan is. I never had an idea of having a home daycare personally, but that I'm older, I might consider it. But it again, it's kind of based on what you're looking to do. But again, if that's where you want to start, or that's where you can start, some people have. And I'd say most people will go into it if they have a two flat building and they live on one floor and they're having trouble leasing out another floor. That's a good place to start, is saying, okay, I want it to be upstairs. Now that is definitely something that could happen
Mm-hmm.
easy. And it
Oh, I like that. Easy. Hmm.
mhm.
Now, let's get to dollars and cents. And I know I'm rushing here. So how do you get paid? That's the question. And how much is childcare?
Well, childcare is very expensive for parents, but then there are different subsidies that the parents can apply for. But you have self-paying parents. You have, because there is a need, and to have quality in your care, it depends, because you can have your child care rated, And that's again just a summary. You can be a gold star, silver star, bronze, or none at all, just a licensed daycare. But the higher you go, the what you're doing is you're qualifying your particular center to be regulated heavily, and again you have incentives to be that to have that particular quality, and then you can then since you're offering more services, then you could charge more because you have that quality.
Yeah. Now, just ballpark figure. One kid, to care for one kid for a week, is approximately how much?
For home base, it can be anywhere from like $100 a week up to, and center wise, and you have them all the way up to $300 a week,
$300 a
and that's
week.
a week.
Okay, so let's do the math real fast. If it was $300 a week and you had 10 kids in your house, that's $3,000 a week. Am I right?
Yep.
Is my math? Am I mathing right? And then
Yeah,
there are
you're
four
mathing right.
weeks. There are 4 weeks and a month. So 4 times 3 is 12. So that would be $12,000 for a month. So for a year, we're talking over $120,000.
Easily.
Do the math right? Okay. All righty. Alrighty then. So if some of you were considering or you were on the fence, those numbers may have swayed you a little bit on the other side. Now, most of the parents, I believe they drop their kids off and they pick them up. But is there an advantage if you have transportation? Because some centers offer transportation, and then that will be another charge for the parent. But if there's a need, there's another income, correct?
Yeah, and yes, and the more services that you provide, then the more income that you would, you be able to, or you might um add that particular service. If you're like, if you don't have a lot of children, that might be an incentive for parents to come to your center versus someone else's, if you provide them being picked up from their home and brought back to their homes, or you need them to be picked up from their elementary school to home. So it all kind of, what you plan to do and what you're able to do, kind of those are services.
Yeah. Now my
And then too,
internet is
even the time frame, and even the
yeah.
time frame.
Now most of the centers are what, 6 to 6, or it
Most
could
of them,
vary.
it can vary. Most home centers, they stay a little longer, so they may do overnight. They may kind of work with weekends because they're already at home, or they're home. So center base, meaning you're at a center, usually those are the traditional hours, but home care can range from, they might end at midnight, or they might service only night parents or only day parents.
Yeah, so there are many options to your
Any
center.
option.
So people out there, if you're writing your plan or you're thinking about it, think about that. You could have a variation of times. It doesn't have to be just the basic 9 to 5. So that could be an advantage for some people. Oh my God, this is so good. We can't cram all of the information in one setting, but I am trying my best. So my mind is just racing. So I am thinking of just say I have a spot. I'm looking at a little spot on just say 87th Street, right? So I go and I talk to the landlord. They tell me how much the rent is. Is there anything I should be looking at? Like, is there, if there's another daycare across the street or down the street, or is this community somewhere where people want to bring their kids? Oh, and I
Most definitely.
also, do I want, is it an advantage to be around the elementary school? Because maybe I could do before and after care. I know I asked a whole lot of questions. Just what do you think?
Yes, all of that matters. So again, you don't want to just go in and say, oh, it looks good, it's a good spot. You definitely want to do your homework. You want to all of that and some. And like I say, is it a easy, I would even, if I were to help you, I would even say, okay, this area, the licensing reps aren't that friendly, or it's going to take a little longer for you to get licensed, because just from the history of it, they're not going to let you open. So it's a lot of little tricks that you may want to, get help on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it
Yeah.
definitely varies. And you'll
Yeah.
lose a lot of money because some people have really lost money, and it takes a long time to recoup because there is a upfront cost. Like if you're at a center, it can run anywhere from $50,000 to start. And again, sometimes you're lucky where you can work out something with a past owner. So it's all different, again, different combinations and different things that may work.
Yeah.
But again,
And that,
you definitely have to be patient, because if you just
mhm,
go in and just doing it, you really want to have someone. I would say you want to have someone that knows daycare
mhm,
if you have
mhm.
no knowledge. But again, if you're not, you just may make costly mistakes.
Yeah, and we don't want costly mistakes because nobody has just money to throw away. But you know what? I have been there have been occasions because in my email I'm flooded with all kinds of real estate, and I've received emails where this person was selling the business. They were selling the building, they were selling all of the contents therein, and it was a pretty good price. And I called you, I said, "Oh my God, look, this is for sale." And then you said, "Oh, wait a minute, let me do the research." And once you did the research, you said, no. So, what are the caveats people should look for? Because there are occasions where people are just selling the whole business and they can give you a good deal. So, is that a go? Is that a no? What should you look for in that case?
Yeah, definitely. Again, doing your homework, kind of knowing what the questions to ask. If someone is selling their business, sometimes that's the greatest opportunity, because they may be selling just because, like me, I'm going toward the retirement stage. So I have done everything that I wanted to do in daycare, but now I want to branch off into something else or do something else. So I may sell my center. That's a great opportunity for someone coming in, because that person could either want help and mentor you to start, and it's already that location is already stable. Like it's already known for daycare to be there. And those are kind of like the best scenarios. But then you always want to see, well, why are they, how many owners have this daycare had? Or if it's been long running, you kind of want to do your homework. And then you want to have that person, to me, kind of helping you with those questions, like why wouldn't it work? And because again, you want to be successful if you're going into business, and that's with any business. You want to know your homework. You want to know your subject matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. This has been so rich. I certainly hope that I've asked the questions to help my listeners. So let's see. Let's recap. We talked about how you got into the business. We talked about what kind of person should actually be interested in the business. We talked about whether or not you should maybe you want to prefer home over finding a site. We talked about finding a site that's already ready. Now, one thing we did not talk about, and we talked about the money, LLC. So once you're starting your business and you have your business plan, I'm not business savvy as you are, but I know there are choices. So you could apply as a non for profit, if I'm not mistaken, or a
Yes.
LLC. Really quick, could you give us the advantages or the disadvantages of both?
Again, if you're maybe home based, you don't have to. You can just be doing a business as yourself, using your, I'm Jackie's daycare. You
Mm-hmm.
can, and not have a LLC or anything. You could just be, you just start your business, or you can have a LLC, meaning you want to have a little protection, limited liability, and that's what a LLC is. Then you
Mm-hmm.
may want to, like, larger locations may want to then consider being incorporated, or not a LLC, but just a regular corporation, or non for profit. So it again, where you want to go, what you're looking to do, and how you want to do it. And like like it is, like, once you start, you want to know, because it is sometimes hard to change. Like if you start a business as an LLC, it's not
Mm-hmm.
really easy to say, oh, well, you know what, now I want to be nonprofit. That might take you and to be relicensed, and you don't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
go through that whole process just because you're changing your status. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I would say more than anything, having someone in your corner that knows daycare, that really knows it and has been successful in it, I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be your best bet, to really have someone to help you. It'll save you. You might pay them to do so, but it will save you thousands of dollars in the long run.
Yeah. And as you talk, I keep saying we're going to wrap it up, but I have another question. I am so sorry, but I'm thinking about those license and the business. And when people sell the business, is there any such thing as a person transferring their license so you don't have to go through the license process? Is that possible?
Well, it kind of, sort of, and again, being strategic with it. Some people, if you're transferring your license and you want it in a new company, you will have to get relicensed all over. And I mean, you will start from the very beginning with, and depending on what town and city, you would have to start with city, getting a city license all the way up. So whatever was old requirements don't count. You're not grandfathered in. You got to start from scratch all the way to the beginning. But then there are sometimes where an owner may work something out with you that you work under them, and then they pass the business on to you, that you, as you're getting licensed on your own, you may be able to work under them or so to still maintain. So it's again, a couple of ways in which you do it.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, this has been rich, and I want to thank you for giving the gift of this information. So you have certainly fulfilled your purpose, because you definitely told me, you said, you know what, I want to give back. And I also want to say to my listeners out there, today we are talking about childcare, but my sister, this CEO right here, told our church about senior care, and it's very similar to child care. So if you want to go to the other end of the spectrum and you say, well, I don't really want to work with kids, but I have a passion for seniors, I'm just going to say, look it up, because there is a need also. We have the baby boomers who are now becoming 65, 70, or we're caring for our parents and you really need help. So just like we have childcare, there is such a thing as senior care, and it is very similar. So we hope that you have learned something today, or we put something on your mind, or at least pointed you in the right direction. And again, Jackie, if they have a question, look, I might they may want to ask you a question. So maybe we can ask or answer one or two. So I'm not going to have them blowing up your phone, but maybe they could send you an email. Maybe.
Sure.
Okay. And your email address is
jpcurrington@gmail.com.
All righty. Now you heard it here. Now we said one question. Don't blow our email up asking her 20 questions every day. So think of that one most important question, and she is willing to give you that answer for free. Now, if you would like to have a seminar, or you actually needed coaching or mentoring, there is a small cost to that, but Jackie could talk to you about that as well, because she is willing to help others to be successful in this business. And trust me, she's all things you need to know about childcare. So that brings my podcast to a close. Again, thank you, Currington. And I want you to like me on Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn. Why don't you subscribe to my YouTube channel? That's Jody Easterling Hood. And for the C-suites out there, I want you to keep walking the walk and talking the talk, because at the CEO level, there aren't that many women, but we want to help and mentor other women, because we want to tell those guys, C-suites, the she-suites are coming at you. Until next week.
You better get ready for the She-Suites. Coming at you with the She-Suites. It's a podcast for G's only. C-Suites. You better get ready for the She-Suites. Coming at you with the She-Suites. It's a podcast with Jody Hood.